guys, this is Jessica with Chapter 6. I'm here to talk about Tithe by Holly Black. This is the first book in the Modern Fairy Tale series, and this has been out for quite a while, so this is actually a new cover. But I actually kind of like this cover better than the original. I didn't used to. The original was just kind of like a brown cover with a green butterfly on it. But this cover makes her look very cool. I was actually lucky enough to meet Holly Black and have her sign my book. So it is signed, so I was very excited about that. And I've been really wanting to read this book for a long time. It is part of my Dusty Challenge. This book is about a young girl named Kay, and she recently moved back in with her grandmother due to some family events. And some certain things happen, a certain series of events happen that leave her torn and put in between the Summer Fae and the Winter Fae courts. So it's kind of a typical fairy book, you know. I think every single fairy book that I've ever read ever talks about the summer court and the winter court and how they are rivals with each other. So Kay finds herself in the middle of those two, and being in between those two courts is a very dangerous place to be, and Kay finds herself in a lot of trouble. If this was just a standalone novel, I would say that unless you are very particular to fairy books, it is a not read. But as a series, I definitely plan on continuing on with it to see where Holly Black goes, because it was not bad, it just wasn't good, and I have read better fairy books. Yeah, definitely check it out and see if it's something that is for you, but I didn't find myself drawn into the story like I wish that I would have been. Now I'm going to go into a spoiler section of Tithe. So if you have not read the book or are worried about being spoiled, do not continue watching, because I will be talking about plot points and characters and things that you won't want to know if you plan to read the book yourself. So one of the main reasons I didn't like this book was because of Kay herself. I felt that Kay, she's only 16 in the book, and I understand that as Kay has been through some serious struggles in her life with her mom being an alcoholic and all those things, and being on the road and being in music, and all of those stereotypes seem like Kay should be in the position that she's in. But I didn't believe Kay. She was 16 years old, and she was always drinking and not doing it like 16-year-olds do either, because I know that as a teenager you obviously drink and you do things like that and you do very irresponsible things. I just didn't believe it when it came to Kay. I felt like she was trying to be molded into this character that had a rough life, and I didn't feel it. I didn't see why Kay was acting out. She was just constantly doing things that troubled adults do, and when you're a teenager and you're troubled, I understand everybody's different, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But just the way that Kay was acting was just really stupid, and I didn't like it. It didn't make me feel for her as a character, and as a character person, I really need to feel for the characters to enjoy the book. I really didn't feel for any of the characters. The only character I even remotely liked was Robin. I don't really know how to say his name. But I felt that he was the most believable character of them all, and he was still a weak character. I didn't like them. I felt that they were all, it was a very childish feeling to an adult issue. And that's why I really didn't like Kay and really didn't like any of it. I know that Holly Black is normally a children's writer. I think before this she wrote the Spiderwick Chronicles. So I felt that childish air about their book. But I've also read White Cat by Holly Black, and it didn't have that at all. So I know that Holly Black is a really, really good writer, but I didn't buy this book. The only savor for me of this book was the plot. It had a very interesting setup. It had all the things that I love about fairies. It had the two courts, it had all the different creatures, and it had the mischievous fairies. But it still didn't get into the depths that I would love for it to get into. I feel like if I didn't have any knowledge of the fairy world already from reading other more detailed books, then this book would have still fallen short in that category. But because I know a lot about the background of the courts and a lot of the background about the character, or not characters, but the different kind of creatures in fairy world, I felt that I could bring more to the story than I was getting from it. So I really wasn't a big fan of Tithe, and I know that this is probably not going to be a very popular review because there are a lot of people who do love this book, but it just wasn't one of the best fairy books that I've read, so I can't give it a really, really great review. I do think that it ended in a very good note, though, a very promising feel. I can't wait to read the next one. I think is Valiant, which actually I think is, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure Valiant is a companion to the book, and then Ironside goes back to Kay and Robin. So I don't know about that. That's just what I feel like I remember people telling me before. But I can't wait to continue on in the series just because I really like how it ended. So I am Jessica with Chapter Chicks. This is my review over Tithe by Holly Black, and this chapter was for you.